Today's decision complicates TransCanada's plans for the Keystone XL pipeline, Greenpeace campaigner Rachel Rye Butler said in a statement. While it isn't clear what this ultimately means for TransCanada's ability to build, one thing is certain: people who oppose the new pipeline will throw everything they have got at stopping it. "We're incredibly encouraged," Brian Jord, a lawyer for the landowners opposed the pipeline, told HuffPost by phone. "The ball is in TransCanada's court." In a statement, TransCanada CEO Russ Girling said the firm will conduct a careful review of the Public Service Commission's ruling while assessing how the decision would impact the cost and schedule of the project. The five-member commission, which included just one Democrat, was barred from considering the spill under a state law heavily lobbied by TransCanada. Under that 2011 law, the officials were required to weigh economic and social impacts, compliance with state and local regulations, and evidence that the pipeline would damage or deplete natural resources. Safety issues, such as the risk or impact of spills or leaks from the major oil pipeline, could not influence the Commission's vote. Opponents of Keystone XL, including environmentalists, Native American activists and ranchers who refused to allow the pipeline over their land, pointed to the spill in remote northeast South Dakota last Thursday as proof of the risk posed by the project. The roughly 5,000 barrel leak is the biggest disaster since the pipeline was completed in 2010. Hearings began in Nebraska this summer over whether Keystone XL served the state's economic interests. Lawyers for TransCanada struggled to defend the project in August, failing to rebut attorneys representing the 90 landowners who opposed the pipeline when they debunked the number of jobs and amount of tax revenue it would generate. Canadian tar sands oil, a prime target for activists and a frequently struck bruise on Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's environmental record, could face new regulatory pressure in coming decades as climate change worsens, making the fuel a risky bet. That made moving crude out of Canada by rail a more attractive option, because train shipments don't usually require long-term commitments. Moreover, other pipeline projects moved ahead in the years Keystone XL languished and briefly died. Enbridge Incorporated expects to finish an extension of its existing pipeline from Alberta to Superior, Wisconsin, by 2019, while Kinder Morgan Incorporated plans to expand its Trans Mountain pipeline from Alberta to the coast of British Columbia by 2020, according to the Wall Street Journal. Former President Barack Obama rejected the Keystone XL pipeline in 2015 after a 7-year fight. During those years, environmentalists transformed the project into a rallying cry for land rights activists, water conservationists, and climate scientists who warned that the particularly dirty tar sands oil that would be carried through the pipeline would exacerbate global warming. The proposed 179-mile pipeline would carry tar sands oil from Alberta, Canada, to Nebraska, where it would connect with the existing Keystone pipeline and transport the product to refineries in Texas. Tar sands, also known as oil sands in Canada, are a noxious mix of sand, clay, and bitumen, a thick, viscous oil. Keystone XL would carry 830,000 barrels in the U.S. per day, producing climate-changing emissions equivalent to putting 5.6 million new cars on the road, according to estimates by the environmental nonprofit Friends of the Earth. The pipeline route traverses Nebraska's sand hills, an area of ancient prairies and sand dunes. It goes through the Ogallala Aquifer, the largest aquifer in North America, at times going underwater. The rock formation, spongy with gravel, silt, sand, and clay, formed 10 million years ago and replenishes very slowly from surface rivers and streams. The water level is close to the surface in Nebraska, making it especially vulnerable to a spill. Water protection became a key theme in the fight against pipelines last year, when Native American activists in the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation battled for months to stop Dakota access from cutting through a body of water held sacred by the tribe. Thousands descended on Washington, D.C., in March in a show of solidarity with the legions gathered at Standing Rock. Keystone XL, which has served as a symbolic rallying point for environmentalists since 2010, could build on that momentum. This decision mistakenly brushes aside the legitimate and serious concerns raised by Nebraska landowners and indigenous people that the Keystone XL pipeline would threaten their water and climate. Anthony Swift, Canada Project Director at the Natural Resources Defence Council, said in a statement. Only a couple days ago, we got yet another grim confirmation oozing across the land in South Dakota that pipelines leak. There's no safe route for Keystone XL, and we will continue fighting with every tool, in every venue and with every partner, to make sure it's never built.